Let's continue from the African continent here, where Tanzania's central bank has asked commercial banks to consider lowering their lending rates to help spark credit growth in East Africa's second largest economy. The Bank of Tanzania cut its discount rate to 12% from 16% effective from March the 6th. That's the first time the central bank has lowered borrowing costs since 2013 after a steep decline in private sector credit growth last year. Bank of Tanzania's decision to slash the rate charges commercial lenders to borrow from the regulator. One of its main monetary policy tools came after lending to the private sector grew by 2.5% last year, after expanding 26.8% in 2015. The International Monetary Fund warned in January this year that tight fiscal and monetary policies threatened Tanzania's forecast for growth of around 7% in fiscal year 2016-2017, which ends in the month of June. Let's talk a little bit about the agriculture in Nigeria, where domestic rice prices have more than doubled in the last 2 years due to an import ban and a drop in the country's currency. And that is good news for local farmers. The government has also subsidized tractors, mills, and fertilizers and made cheaper loans available, which has attracted many Nigerians to the agri sector. But the farmers still face various challenges as they work to boost rice production in Africa's most populous country.
From unemployed locals to foreign investors and Africa's richest man, many people in Nigeria are investing in rice farming. The reason is that domestic rice prices have more than doubled in the last 2 years due to an import ban and a dive in the Nigerian currency. At the same time, the government is subsidizing tractors, mills and fertilizers, as well as arranging cheaper loans to boost production with considerable success.
If I get 80 bucks, maybe at that time, I sell in 1 bag for 5,000, 4,500 to 6,000. So about last year, at least I spent about 500,000 because of the inflation. So I sell in 1 bag about per 1 bag at 10,000 to 11,000. So I got about 300,000 profits.
Mohammed took up growing rice 3 years ago to help fund his university studies in Bauchi. When he finished last year, he opted for a career in the fields rather than in architecture. But the drive to cut an annual food import bill of $20 billion has run into the kind of problems that have long bedeviled Nigeria's efforts to build up an economy outside its dominant oil industry. Despite rice growing being a government priority, many farmers still work with their bare hands in fields in the Dao, in the country's northern Bauchi state, and lack irrigation channels. Mills are often ramshackle, while poor roads make getting the crop from the main growing fields in northern Nigeria to consumers in the south difficult and costly. Nigeria has imported 110 mills, which remove grit in the process, but most farmers still go to villages to handle their rice with homemade machines. The rice boom has also drawn large-scale investment from Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, and foreign firms to supply the huge market of 190 million people who consider rice to be an important part of their diet, used in popular recipes like jollof, a type of spicy fried rice. Nigerian growers also struggle to meet quality standards set by foreign agribusinesses, with consumers complaining about having to extract grit from the rice, which is on sale in local markets.
The problem with the local rice is the stone. But if basically it has been destoned, it tastes better than the foreign rice. So if I'm in a hurry, I prefer the foreign rice because of the stone. There are no stones. But if I have all the time, I'll always prefer the local rice because it is more tastier.
Larger investors hope Nigeria will not repeat the mistakes of the past by losing interest in domestic food production if and when global oil prices pick up again, helping the naira to recover and making imports cheaper.
In North Africa's largest economy, Egypt, a carpenter and a butcher are among the women in Egypt pushing gender boundaries by working in jobs traditionally reserved for men. Of course, International Women's Day was last week, March the 8th, and so the economic empowerment of women in Egypt comes at a very important time for this economy. You want to watch this.
Battling economic hardships, many Egyptian women have turned to traditionally male-dominated jobs to support their families. Asma Megahead joined her husband at his carpentry shop shortly after their marriage 3 years ago, a decision frowned upon by her family.
All my siblings are boys, and at the beginning, they were all against me working here, and my mother was against it too. And she used to say, "You are putting yourself through too much trouble. Don't go out. You are always out. You are out all day." And my brothers would say, "Why are you doing this to yourself? Why don't you stay at home and let him take care of you?" But it's not about food and drink. It's about how every woman has goals she wishes to achieve.
Megahead said working with her husband has had a positive effect on their marriage and that her husband has been generous in teaching her all the necessary skills. The National Council for Women is shining the light on helping women enter the workforce and be a greater contributor to the economy.
In 2017, we are focusing on economic empowerment to create productive women in various fields, whether they work in recycling, carpentry or art. Work that has taken them to global success, or hard-working women who have launched small projects and medium-sized projects. And we are focusing on how to make them succeed and market their products, and how to enter the field of economic empowerment with skills.
Aha Mustafa runs a food truck that serves burgers to hungry pedestrians in the heart of Cairo. Her presence in that truck can turn heads, as usually it would be a man serving burgers.
I see that today women can do everything in all different fields. They are ministers, carpenters and butchers and guards and homemakers, and they work and have children and they raise these children. And I felt like women can do anything if they have their mind set to it and if they focused on it.
And over to the source of beef burgers. A butcher's shop would typically have had men chopping up and mincing raw meat. But here is Roaida Hosni, one of a few female butchers in Egypt.
This job has been beneficial for me because no one helps anyone these days. Not my son or my brother. They all fought me. My husband has been sick in bed for 10 years, so I have to do the work. And my sons are helping me. We're all working hard like men. And I taught my sons how to be butchers. I taught them well. And I go buy the meat and bring it here.
Inflation in Egypt has passed 30% in recent months as the government pushed for austerity measures to secure a $12 billion IMF loan.
Meantime, Cairo's population is set to grow by 500 million this year, more than any other city in the world, adding to the pressure on an Egyptian economy struggling to recover from 6 years of political turmoil. Greater Cairo, a metropolitan area including Cairo and parts of the Giza and Qalubia provinces, is home to some 22.8 million people and will gain another 500,000 in 2017. And that's the package for today on Business Incorporated. I am Bosun Amafai. I will see you again very soon. Do have a greater day and enjoy the rest of the day and the week.